Oh, good
Now
evening,
we're official.
good evening, everyone. It is now 6:05. This is a meeting of the Operations Advisory Committee meeting, Tuesday, May 12th, 2026. Should I start over again?
Yeah. Just in case.
Okay, this is the meeting of the Operations Advisory Committee. It is now 6:06, Tuesday, May 12th, 2026. The Operation Advisory Committee members are Howard Pallavi, Lydia Tang, Melissa Wade, and me. I am the committee chair, Faye Christian. With us today is also the CEO, who is Mr. Benjamin Jones, and our COO, who is Mary Hoonan. And we have Amber Amoroso from the Public Safety is here with us today. Let's attend now to, I have a notice I have to read. And I'm going to do the notice first. Board members present today who are not members, but we don't have any, but I need to read it.
Okay, just in case.
The hall
is online. Online.
Oh, okay, great.
Okay. Board members who are present today, here in person or on video, you are not, if you're not on the Operations Advisory Committee, we are to remind you that you are in attendance as members of the public. Preferably, you should not sit at the table with this or other board committee meetings. You must not participate in any way. Participating when a quorum is present will transform this committee meeting into a full board meeting, which would violate our open meeting law requirements, in which case the committee meeting would be immediately adjourned. Okay, we're going to move on to our agenda. Agenda 1 is the steam plant, which is a brief community advisory.
Yes, and Mary is pulling that up. One moment. Thank you, Chair. We know this topic is important, so we included it on the agenda, even though we have little new information from the city to share. We appreciate the public comments that we have heard at several prior meetings, including the December and February Operations Advisory Committee meetings. Of course, the April Demolition Town Hall, the April Board of Directors meeting. Kaylin and Angelique, we heard from you last week at the Governance Committee as well. And as a reminder, we have a Board of Directors meeting coming up on Thursday this week. There has been some recent information added to the demolition page that we created on our website, including an HPD environmental procedures memo that most of you have probably already seen, HPD's question and answer document, and an 8-week look-ahead schedule. HPD confirmed as part of this that they will be conducting daily air quality monitoring and will provide weekly reports to REOC to post on our site, which we will do once that begins. We also appreciate Speaker Menon's efforts to reinforce our request for more information, helping to get that HPD Q&A document into the public realm and presenting it at the Roosevelt Island Committee of Community Board 8 on May 4th. The elected officials have requested a community advisory group, and recently on May 6th, they sent a letter to HPD, DOB, and DEC requesting their participation in a monthly community advisory group. We also shared, when we received the initial request, we shared that with the commissioners of both HPD and DOB, who were mentioned in that initial letter. We are awaiting a response from the agencies and continue to ask them for a response as recent as 2 hours ago. We did receive a statement from HPD.
May I just ask?
Yes.
Just to clarify, meaning they gave, that there has been radio silence, or did
They've
they say they
acknowledged
need more
that,
time?
they've acknowledged the request and
Okay.
said they're considering it and need more time.
Okay.
Yes. And they have conveyed that to the elected officials as well. So we do hope to hear from them soon.
Yes, we're gonna put our breathing on hold until then.
Okay, you're what?
We're gonna put our breathing on hold until.
We're
Safe
right,
breathing.
we're waiting to say this
for
round.
breathing,
Another
I
one.
understand.
Until something is finally done, we're gonna stop breathing,
I
our
would-
asthmatic children
I
gonna
would
stop
not
breathing.
hold my breath, wait.
Oh, and I just had an asthma attack on the bus, so like, I know.
This is the statement that HPD just provided us today. The work that HPD's contractor has conducted at the steam plant site has consisted of shed installation, site make-ready work, creating supports for the smokestack, and other work to prepare for the demolition. Demolition itself has not begun. As soon as asbestos abatement begins, air sampling will be ongoing daily by a third party in accordance with Department of Labor and Department of Environmental Protection regulations, and will be sent to the lab every day once asbestos work begins. Air monitoring results will be released on a weekly basis on the RIAC website. DEC has visited the site multiple times, and they are monitoring, bless you, for resident safety. HPD is following all local, state, and federal regulations for site safety. And that is the latest information RIAC has received.
Or can we join the conversation, since we're talking very briefly about the steam plant?
I'm okay with that, if
So-
you, Chair.
Well, this is, we have to remember that in,
We're gonna be very brief.
I heard
We're
that.
gonna be
last-
very,
I heard
We do
that.
wanna get to the
I heard
other
that.
just 2
operations
minutes,
items,
because
but
otherwise it's kind of meaningless. Just, we can read the user statement of HPD. I mean, we all realize that if we get once a week a report of what was the quality last week of the air, it's not gonna save anyone. We need real-time air monitoring, but let's talk about these details later. Let me start from the beginning. So, good evening, everyone. My name is Kelin Keresnički, Roosevelt Island resident, co-founder of Architectural Community Alliance of Roosevelt Island. And I'm here tonight to talk about who owns the steam plant. My agenda calls for a brief update, sandwiched between potholes and July 4th fireworks. After 161 days and anonymous community board vote, we got a brief update. So let me try to be brief. We don't need permission from HPD or DOB to start a community advisory group. DOB arrived in 2023 to ask the owner of the steam plant to fix cracks on the masonry. HPD came even later, summer 2024, and told us they were not involved before the order to demolish. This agency can't help us save the building or take care of the Roosevelt Island residents. That's between us, the community, and RIOC. So who owns the steam plant? 5 different entities have appeared as owners on city records. RIOC filed as owner in 2013 and again in 2020. By 2023, the owner filed a field in the DOB document reads XX, unknown. By 2024, it changed to something called Riverwalk 8 Affordable LP. Who is this? What's their connection to steam plant? Does RIOC know? Commissioner Samar admitted this was such a big question, who is the owner of the building, that it required the NYC and DOB law department to be involved to find out. And RIOC's own 2014 report to the state said ownership remains unresolved. So it is resolved now. Meanwhile, chimney demolition is starting now, according to the schedule that is on your website, on the RIOC website. Over-contaminated soil with an open DEC steel cage and no safety plans shared with the community. These are questions RIOC can answer tonight. In East Harlem, a community land trust acquired 4 neglected city-owned buildings for $1 each. So I have $1 here. On behalf of the Roosevelt Island community, I'd like to make an offer for the steam plant. So I think that's what the community advisory group is for. Let's begin the advisory group. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We're gonna, move on now to the operation of Smooth Ride.
Wait a second, I have a question.
Oh, are there any?
I do have something to, and the question I have is, you already said that the air monitoring is going to be started. Do you have a date for the air
We
monitoring?
do not have a start date.
What I would like to propose is a resolution to be brought to the board on Thursday, that we, as the board or operations advisory committee, recommend to the board that we put in place air quality monitoring up until the time that they start, so we're not duplicating efforts, so that we can give our residents peace of mind. The air quality is either safe or it's not safe up until that point, because a lot of the residents have concerns. We have children that have, there's a spike in asthma cases in our children's under 80% population, and we have a lot of seniors and disabled. And we're passing by poor Rachel's coughing. She was right across the street from.
And I'm not doing that for effect, trust me.
But, and I go to,
I just ran a quarter of a mile to try to, and then I had to run really fast to try to catch the bus. But I am a runner, and I stopped, and then I had like a massive asthma attack on the bus, and it's because of I believe, of having a reaction to that black smoke that we were all breathing in on Friday from that fire. So I'm just bringing it up that we already have major air quality issues going on this island, and lack of clear safety protocols and oversight in the way that a lot of the work is being done on this island. So anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt you,
yeah,
Lydia.
so do we have a date? Do we have a date that they're gonna start air quality monitoring?
We do not have a date from them. In their 8-week look-ahead schedule, they contemplate asbestos removal starting later this month, and so presumably, based on what they're telling us, that would have to start in concert with that, but,
So later this month, so
So-
what I'm asking is daily air quality monitoring, that's gonna average, I guess, $1,000 a day, give or take. So that's a resolution that I would like to put before the board, this committee, and then eventually bring before the board on Thursday. If this committee doesn't approve, then I'll just bring it up individually as a board member.
the chair, yeah.
Thursday. All right, so, you wanna discuss it?
Well, we can discuss it, because I think that it's, hopefully, if it's what we don't know, it's true, we don't know, have a date, but it's supposed to be soon. And so what you're asking is that we hire the independent, agencies to come in. Do we have a date? I mean, not a date, do we have a quote for how much an independent, person would be? Mary?
BJ emailed saying that would be $30,000
Yes, that's
a
right.
month, give or take. So I'm thinking $1,000 a day, give or take. If you break it down into 30 days, that's what I'm thinking. I think that would be reasonable. And I also know that when I was doing my asbestos remediation in my apartment, it was about $1,000.
Oh, Melissa?
I just wanted to raise, I know we had discussed that air quality monitoring has previously been done on the island. I think Frank France and RERA had something to do with it, and
The-
Queens College.
It was Queens College, Dr. Eisel did a citywide study back in 2011, 2012. The air monitoring was done by the Cornell Construction Project.
Gotcha, so it wasn't for, just for us, there was a larger.
Right, it was part of the project, and the request was very similar to the words used by, let's say, HPD in their memos.
And so Cornell, in conjunction with their construction, did air quality monitoring here.
Right, right.
Was it just for asbestos, or?
I don't recall right now.
But I can share information. I will send you a link to the actual servers on Cornell, that they have all the records from the air monitoring, from all the community protection plans, meetings with the community, all this available online. They did full air quality monitoring from the beginning of the process to the end, not just about asbestos. And this is very important point. We need air quality monitoring. Actually, we needed one 5 months ago when they started in December, because they disturbed contaminated soil, which they knew is oil contaminated, without any monitoring. And if they start demolition of the chimneys, one of the most poisonous elements in this entire process is the layer of, on the inside of the chimneys that's collected there over 75 years of burning oil, containing heavy metals and all kinds of poisons.
Oh, my God.
So we need real-time air monitoring. Equipment exists. There could be a website on which every couple of minutes, everyone can see on their phone what's going on. And if something goes wrong, everyone can get a message on their phone, and then it's going to be meaningful, because we can close our windows, leave the island, do whatever is necessary.
But I have a feeling I have a deja vu, because Lydia requested that months ago, in this same setting, and nothing happened, and I don't understand why.
So what happened was we had a meeting, and then the board meeting got canceled. So, and then at the next board meeting, the meeting that we had was not reported on. So I'm making a second, and this time I'm asking for a resolution to be approved by this committee, and if it's not approved, then I will individually bring up a resolution at the board.
Well, if the resolution is approved here, it has to still be approved by the board.
Correct.
And it would go through a normal procurement process.
Correct. Well, okay.
Which takes time.
I was just gonna say.
How much
Sounds
time
like
does a normal?
I don't know, but I
procurement-
know it's gonna take time.
Yeah.
And you know how-
Unfortunately, it would have been nice to have the normal procurement process start months ago, but
HPD selected contractor, demolition contractor, running through a short process of selection, not through the full one, just because it was emergency, which we now know it's not emergency. So maybe you have the emergency procedure to hire someone without going through the full process, because this is a real emergency. If they start tomorrow demolition of the chimneys, we have to move out of the island.
do we have an emergency procurement process?
We do have a provision for emergency procurement that
What does that
streamlines
look like?
It's relatively quick from a government perspective, but it would still probably take a couple of weeks.
A couple of weeks.
So let us do the resolution now.
Okay.
Are we all in agreement to, bring this up to the board next, in 2 days?
In 2 days.
Yes.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
it's passed. So if we're gonna bring this up in 2 days, I'm gonna quickly move on to another topic. I'm gonna see if there's anyone else that has a comment from the board. Okay.
I'm not
From
on
the
the board, I'm
No,
not on the board, but
I know that, and it is, we're not having it. We're gonna
I'm
go
sorry,
on.
but this was supposed to be community.
No, this is the operations committee meeting, and this is when the REAC advises us about the operations
We'll be
here
very
on the
brief.
island.
One thing, as far as I know, after all these years, the steam plant was owned by the New York City Health and Hospitals Corporation and turned over to HPD about a year or two ago. It was definitely owned by New York Health and Hospitals Corporation. And why someone's trying to slough it off and tell you who didn't own it, I don't know. But I'll see the former manager of the steam plant tomorrow when I go to Kohler. And I know he turned it over, now he wants to Kohler. And so he handed the keys to HPD no more than a year or two ago. So they owned it.
That makes sense, and
That makes
that's
sense.
our understanding.
I would like to ask, does anybody know why the steam plant, now that we all know, that there's no emergency?
I'm
As we
pretty sure you're
discussed,
gonna bring this up on
Yeah.
Thursday.
and we discussed on,
We need to move on.
I need to say I'm sorry, but I'm here
we
on
have-
behalf of Architectural Community Alliance. We have
Yes.
2,000 signatures
And you
under,
know, we had the
so
committee meeting.
therefore, 2,000
and at
people
every
behind me,
meeting,
and
you
I'm
were
gonna
given an
finish
opportunity to
what I need to
speak.
finish. I would
You were
like to
given
ask
an
the public,
opportunity to speak.
I would like to ask the public and everybody that's in this meeting, does anybody know why the steam plant is being does anybody on this board? Has the request-
You
You
represent
represent
No.
2,000 people, correct?
That is-
Why are you not before DOB as an active
Can I
audience?
finish first
No.
my question?
I think that's the proper venue for this particular
It is.
question.
Yeah,
We don't have that information, and there's nothing we can do to ask.
I'm insisting to finish my question.
And REAC has
I'm
tried
here
very
on
hard to
every
get
advisory
answers.
meeting, I'm very polite, I have a relevant question, and I don't see why I have to be silenced in this way.
You are not being
I
silenced.
refuse to be silenced.
You have
That
had-
is what is
you
happening
have
right
spoken
now.
Ask your
And
question.
I refuse to be silenced in a very polite and a very civilized way.
Well,
So my question
please
is,
ask your
now
question.
that we
Ask your
know,
question.
now that we know that we have been misled on December 2nd, that this demolition is an emergency demolition by the admission of Department of Buildings of the City of New York, does anybody in this room know why the steam plant is being demolished? Does anybody know?
You know the answer to that.
No, I don't know.
Can I,
Yes,
can I,
it's
can I
double.
give you a conjecture? My conjecture is, this body doesn't have authority over, it, but New York City
I understand, Lydia.
does.
My question is a different question. Does anybody, it's a yes or no question. Does anybody in this room know? No.
The answer is no.
Nobody in this room.
With
Did
the
anybody in
exception-
this room,
The
did
only
any?
thing I would add, just as a reminder,
Yeah.
which I'm telling you what you already know, is that the order by DOB stated that it needed to be demolished urgently and put time constraints on HPD to move quickly to bring it down. So there was an assessment on that order that's on our website as well. There were 2 orders, and one of them was about specifically their concern about the condition of the steam plant itself, and they had requested a near immediate action on bringing it down. And so that's what is behind that, which you've asked for more information on what supports that.
And now we know that there is no.
But that is why this is happening, is because of
But
that
now we know that
assessment
there is
and
no
that order.
emergency, and therefore there is no danger to human life coming from the stability of this building. So did anybody in this room ask the city?
I think the question has been asked and they're deferring the answer. So they acknowledge the receipt of the question per what BJ just said. And we're just waiting.
And they have remained adamant that it does need to come down, and that there is a structural issue and I do worry
Let's be
based
clear,
on
there's no
this.
structural issue with the building.
But that's their assertion, and it's their.
No, that's great answer that you're giving us. You know about Community Board 8?
Yeah.
They don't have power over DOB or HPD, but they voted a resolution in support of asking for this demolition to be put on stop,
Yes.
and the right questions and discussion to be held first. So is it possible for the RIOC board to vote a similar type of resolution? Even if it's just symbolic, it's gonna speak a lot for us as residents. We will know that you're working with us and you care about us as you told me last time.
Yeah,
And we believe,
I do.
we believe that you care.
I do.
You're not powerless. You have a lot of power, even if it's gonna be just symbolic.
I would say, and I don't want to speak for individual members, but our position has been that it is DOB's authority to call for this demolition and HPD's responsibility to follow it through, and that it wouldn't be prudent for us to question the merits of that, given that it's their responsibility and it's their expertise to do it. But we agree that more information would be very helpful in your concerns.
My last
May I ask
question
two
is,
quick-
I'm going to continue with your agenda. Is anybody in this room aware of any redevelopment plans being initiated at any time recently, in the recent several years, regarding this building and regarding the land under the building? Is anybody in this room aware of any redevelopment plans?
I'm not aware of any.
No.
Has anything been discussed?
But I don't know.
But we have
We have heard rumors, but we don't know.
But we have discussed and announced in the fall with the city to look prospectively at opportunities on Roosevelt Island, and the steam plant is contemplated along with Kohler and other sites as part of that. But that there's a lot of process.
So the two things are related, correct?
No,
Right now, they are
That
not.
is, yeah,
Right now, they are not.
yeah,
They are
but
not.
we
In
know.
the future, but they are not right now.
if it doesn't come, I mean, they're related in that, they're separate.
Well, what
actions.
about, I mean, they are to me, if I'm recalling correctly, because I feel that it was brought up within the context of, just, excuse my sarcasm, but this exciting opportunity for community engagement and our vision for what we want Roosevelt Island to be.
Yeah.
And we have been completely blindsided with what's happening instead. So it has been so disingenuous. We're being lied to, and we're being conned. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to mince my words, but, you know, it was so obvious at the time, you know, the timing of everything, you know, and then this whole thing comes down right in the aftermath of that. It's not coincidental, you know, and, you know, the fact is that also the way, I also was really irritated by the way the ribbon cutting moment of opening, you know, the new Pocket Park, which we've waited for years for, was way overdue. And then they take this opportunity to try to sugarcoat their actions and make it look like they're so, like, I was talking about, when I say they now, this is because I feel that, you know, they haven't been at these meetings, but somehow I think Hudson Related is involved in all of this, you know, but the fact is that, you know, that felt opportunistic. Why were they taking this opportunity to bring up, you know, that this idea of potentially 2 more buildings, and it was like, you know, like, what a way to ruin the moment. It was such a buzzkill for me, because I was just like, you know, sorry, I'm like bringing the New Yorker coming out at me, but you know, I just felt like, you know, this is something you promised to us, this Pocket Park. It doesn't make you a hero, like, because you finally provided what you said you were gonna provide. And, you know, the same with RIOC. We've been waiting for this, but, you know, so I feel that we're being I feel that these are calculated moments, and it's to take advantage of us, to take advantage of our you know, better natures, that are, you know, want to be able to feel good and to trust in our community and in our environment. So, you know, I do think that there is obviously a relationship. It's just everybody's sort of, you know,
It's an interesting
avoiding that.
moment in the history of the island. We are demolishing the last industrial historic building on the island, without knowing the reason why. Nobody in this room is asking why, nobody is doing anything to stop it.
May I
What
also
are we
ask,
doing? We don't know why, there is no development plan, there is no reason.
may
Why
may I
are we
briefly ask
doing
two
this?
questions?
This is our building.
Hi, may I ask two quick questions for Riak, the board?
Who is it
Go ahead.
speaking?
Hi, this is Tibor Crisco. I know may I speak for a moment? Is that okay?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate your time. I know this is taking some time, but obviously it's important to us. I'll be very brief, and this is meant to be two questions very focused for Riak, not as expansive, though I do echo all the concerns that have been said. I speak on behalf of just the residents. I'm a father and a parent. This is not as any organization, just one of the active residents who is missing my kids' bed and bath time because this is important, like you all, to me too. Two questions. In light of these ongoing thoughtful discussions, the resolution Lydia's brought up that you all passed, I guess the question is Roosevelt Island Day on firefighters field safe? Number two is, while I understand the optimal CAG would of course involve HPD and DOB, I don't want to let perfect be the enemy of the good. Is there any true logistical obstacle to starting a CAG, even if it's just with Riak and the community? I will say as a member, and I think you've heard tonight, we would all deeply appreciate it. I believe it does have value. And so logistically, question two is there actually any hard preclusion to starting some form of a CAG while we wait for who knows what with HPD and DOB? Thank you so much.
And Brenda, I think you mentioned earlier, maybe I misunderstood, are you against starting it or getting it going?
No, the community advisory group, that's
No,
what we
this-
wanted to
I
do.
said, are you?
We can count this as the first meeting,
But no one's gonna hold you back from starting it yourself.
yeah, but we inviting you too.
Well,
And
we're not gonna
let's
say we're not gonna join.
let's do it more than
Well,
one.
it doesn't do any
This
good
is
if
the
we're not
first
gonna be
meeting, but
consulted. I
this
mean, we can't have it in a vacuum, it has to be
But
And that's our
connected.
and that's
concern
why
about-
it's important to have these other people in the group.
We
And
can
we
do a lot
need
without
people
them.
from HPD, we do need these people to join us.
But
If
we
you want
also-
So
to-
the question again is there an obstacle to having
So-
just Riak start with us? That was the question. We understand DOB and HPD would be beneficial, but I don't understand, is there a logistical obstacle that prevents you all setting a suitable time frame 1 week from now, whatever the time frame is, for Riak, whatever the people should be from it, and residents to begin having this conversation?
From my perspective, the answer to that is that there's not a logistical obstacle. It's about the meaningfulness
Okay.
of that meeting and having HPD and DOB and DEC be part of it, and the hope that we'll hear from them very soon and we can begin meeting with the agencies.
Appreciate it.
That's the concern.
Especially when we.
I think you'll hear from our group tonight, though, and from,
Question about the steam tunnel remediation.
Can we hold off on that?
We need-
The tunnel is totally separate from the
Well,
steam
I
plant.
want to know if the board has accepted New York City's determination that the steam tunnel is not their responsibility, and is the responsibility of Rio. And I'm also curious why, when this topic came up at the board meeting, the New York City representative said, well, we're not doing it, but maybe it could be done as part of a redevelopment of the site. And what would lead them to think that there's gonna be a redevelopment of the site, and the developer was gonna take on this responsibility? It seems to me that that was more than just out of the air speculation.
Can I ask you, Nate?
And I'd like to know if RIAC is taking responsibility, is it being put on the project list with priority for action due to the safety implications?
Can I ask your name?
Your name.
Your name,
Your
please?
name.
Steve Silverstein.
Okay, thank you. You live here?
Yes, I do.
That's great. I'm glad that you're here. Thank you very much for coming.
We'll be planning to have a real estate development advisory committee meeting in the next few weeks, and that'll be one of the topics. Another topic will be alluded to during this meeting. So, RIAC has, I believe, has accepted the fact that we are responsible for the steam tunnels.
I think it's still arguable.
Well, it's arguable if we have sole responsibility.
Because they do
Right.
it, but.
Right, so
But we
there'll be
agree the priority
discussion
needs to be.
what the status is to our knowledge and what the possibilities are, especially for ameliorating the issues that exist.
So the question I think we need to go back to is Tibor's question about whether or not Roosevelt Island Day will be safe. And I am hoping, against all hope, that the emergency procurement will
That the
say
air
that
quality monitoring is
will be
happening.
up by then, and we will know definitively whether or not it
Okay.
is safe.
Okay.
Because Roosevelt Island Day is all little kids, and if
Yeah.
all little kids are gonna be on firefighters field, that's across the street from the steam plant.
Can we all spend $800 extra and just run a very fast 3-day soil sample test from the firefighter field? Because my concern is that for the last 5 months, all the oil contamination and all the lead paint that they're cutting and pulverizing inside in the building without any protection is going to the air, then going back down in the soil with the rain. We have
And in the river, I'm noticing a
Yeah.
lot of, like,
Yeah.
a lot of
Sediment,
Yeah.
on the river that I've never
so
seen.
add that into
Can we-
the resolution, does
That's
anyone,
very fast and
Yeah.
very easy.
does
There are
board
25
members, does anyone have an objection to adding that into the resolution? Any objections, Howard?
No.
No objection.
Right, let's add it into the resolution to be put before the board on Thursday.
Lead paint is a huge concern.
Can you
And
do me
that's
a
why-
favor, can you email me the details of that?
Yeah.
And actually to Faye as well, you have all of our, yeah?
Yeah.
Just the operations.
Everyone. It should go to everyone.
And oil?
Well, to
Yeah.
put into the,
The rest.
yeah, resolution, yes. Okay, great.
If I may, before you move on, just, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
quickly, but I think this is a great example of how a CAG could work without HPD and GOB. Like, look at the progress we've made. So to that end, I'm a Roosevelt Island resident, my name is Manuela. I think this is, we're disturbed by what has happened so far, but this is like a very nice, step in the right direction. So I appreciate you making the time, to address this. Just putting this on this agenda is a big deal and is a good, good faith gesture, so thank you. But this is like what it could look like without DOB or HPD, so, yeah. So please, I hope you all will consider that and maybe conjure some ways to, keep up this momentum. And just as a matter of record, very quickly, I'm just gonna ask a question about, the contractor schedule. Yes, has demolition starting this week, I guess that's not happening, but, have y'all, and maybe this is a question for RIAC, going forward, like, have you been provided with the means and methods of that plan? Like, we have pretty broad, we have like colored dots, with dates on them, but like, maybe moving forward as you're trying to get more info, having some more information about what that will actually look like. An exclusion zone for like the 240-foot masonry chimney demolition, how does that account for the tennis bubble that's 8 to 10 feet away? Like, these are like sort of the details, I think that we could alleviate some concerns, hopefully.
I noticed they put a, they put
I'm
the
gonna bring this
thick
to a
plywood over
close
the.
now because, that 5 minutes, as you can see, moved on to 45 minutes.
I just wanted to say something really quickly
Yeah,
as a board
listen.
member. I just want to say that I agree. I think that us going ahead, as we've been requested by the elected officials, starting a community advisory group, even if we don't have the other groups at the table right now, would be really helpful. And the reason being that committee meetings are a difficult place to have the full breadth of discussion that we want to. Board meetings really don't have a mechanism for it. It's been happening, but a board meeting happens because the board has things that they have to discuss and vote on. So it's not a great mechanism. So therefore, we really do need a place where the people can bring ideas, they can be heard without limits, and full discussions can be had when we're not trying to do other business. And so I just wanted to add my voice as a board member and say that I think it behooves us to get it started. Thank you.
But why do we need to wait for recommendations from our electeds on who should be
We have a
on this
recommendation,
group?
so I
Is
think
that-
that's a moot question. We have a recommendation. I think we should move forward.
So when's gonna be meeting number
We
2?
should move forward. I'm saying we should move forward.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I see what you're saying, okay.
Thanks.
Let us move on to
Thank you.
agenda 2.
Can we first just schedule meeting
Operation
number 2?
Smooth Ride.
Let's schedule meeting number 2.
Can we
Not
do it
here,
next week
not
or end
here.
of this week?
Not now, not
Okay,
here.
let's put it,
Operation Smooth Ride, Mary?
Yes, so after a historically harsh winter, one of the worst in decades, that came with 2 very significant blizzards that hit the city, our maintenance team jumped into action to begin to assess the island for pothole areas that were in need of repair, and we also thank the community for their input as well, submitting tickets of areas where potholes had appeared. So our team of 6 handymen and our director of maintenance, Mehdi Amrani, were able to fix approximately 375 potholes to this point, with roughly 120 remaining. You've probably seen them in action around the island. They've spent a tremendous amount of time mid-island south and starting to work their way back up now. And just to keep in mind with some of the photos, I think the photos really tell the story that, you know, we're not just filling a small little pothole. We're actually cutting out a larger section of the roadway and performing a much more long-lasting repair and fix. You know, and I do want to say just a special thank you to our director of maintenance, Mehdi Amrani, and the team for all of their hard work and effort. They really have spent every waking moment outside focusing on these pothole areas, and we hope that the drivers have noticed a difference around the island. I do want to highlight that. Is it okay to go to the next one?
Yes.
Great work by them.
Yes, it is amazing.
Our small but mighty team.
Yeah, very small, very mighty.
So a couple of our upcoming capital projects, some of which are underway currently, which is the first one. So the West Promenade Pathway Safety Improvement Phase 2. Phase 1 was completed in the fall of last year. So now we are going to, or we've already begun tearing up the sidewalk along the west area of the pedestrian pathway, where we're going to remove that existing asphalt and put in a brand new concrete path with the purpose to create a wider path that's more accessible and safer for pedestrians to navigate. We did receive feedback from the community about adding additional lighting to the area, and I'm happy to say we are going to act upon that. We're going to add more lighting bollards going south along the pathway, as well as an additional street light to give that area a bit more visibility during the nighttime. So this project kicked off earlier this week, and we're anticipating completion by mid-August. So that area will be under construction for a bit of time, but we're excited about the opportunities that are there for that.
Yes, sir.
Quick question, I might need you to repeat that. So the whole point is to widen the walkway and then the shrubs will be put back, right?
Correct. So we're going to do all the hardscape work, all the concrete and the lighting work, and then we will plant new shrubs in that area. And thank you to the Garden Club also for, you know, participating in that walkthrough and sharing their insights. The West Roadway paving and curb installation, so piggybacking on the major pothole repairs that were made so far this year that were primarily done by our in-house team. There are certain areas on the island that are beyond our capabilities, and so we're going to utilize our on-call concrete and asphalt vendor to help us with the West Roadway paving and curb installation. If you've driven down the West Roadway near the Racket Club, the tram and the kiosk, I think you could probably fall into one of the potholes there. So we're going to address this area, and I did want to just point out also, this roadway is a bit unique in that the asphalt that is there, about 30 yards of it, was poured over underlying Z-bricks. I'm not quite sure why this was done. It's been that way for some time, and that contributes to the Z-bricks underneath shifting, cracking, and then creating potholes, most times much larger potholes than you would see normally. So we're going to put in a longer lasting solution, one where we don't have to continuously revisit, by removing the roughly 30 yards of Z-brick area and asphalt, putting in a proper sub-base layer, approximately 4 to 6 inches of new asphalt, and then we're also going to repair the curb that runs along the east side of that roadway. This work is planned to begin on May 18th, with anticipated completion by June. Our goal is to complete this before the 4th of July. So there will be some no parking in that area, but the end result, I think, will be really special and important.
Right? Well, two things. I'm so glad those old shrubs are gone. you know? People-
I'm so upset that those shrubs are gone. You had to bring up that sore subject.
I'm sorry, dear, the shrubs were old. You look, we have a vista finally. We can have lovely new shrubs there, but these things were bold. They also made it dark at night to walk there. New shrubbery is light and it'll make it, I'm sorry. And also, just taking away the shrubs made the street wider. So it's, new shrubbery will be lighter, it'll make the place much more visible, and it's more of a promenade now. It's, because we don't have a promenade.
But we don't
now.
need, the entire island does not need to be
Okay,
exposed
Okay, we're gonna go on.
to the river.
This is what is being done.
Okay, thank you. May I finish?
Mary,
Thank you.
let's go, continue.
Going on, the first item is a bit of old news, but there was a shift in timing, so we felt it was important to bring up. The AVAC West Pipe section that needs to be repaired near Manhattan Park. This work was approved at a prior board meeting. The area of pipe has thinned to the point where it requires replacement in order to continue to operate. So we're going to schedule with NVAC. They are the manufacturer of the equipment to fly in from Spain to perform the repair. It's scheduled for mid-July with completion by mid-August. It's roughly a 3 to 4 week time frame to complete this work. During this period, the red bus stop will move temporarily to the next corner, just south of the existing location, and AVAC service will be offline for buildings that are connected to the AVAC system through the west side. And we're currently coordinating with DSNY to make sure they are available and can provide waste collection during that time period. We had a property managers meeting with all the properties on the island in April, where we discussed this project, and we'll continue to work with the property managers that will be impacted as we get closer to the start date. The area in yellow that's highlighted, that's the section of the roadway that will be disturbed during this time.
So the bus stop is gonna move across the street?
Right.
Okay. Are the other bus stops that were moved for the facade of Eastwood Resort Landings gonna move back to where they were?
What, the PSP, is that the PSP stop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh?
We can put that.
And the other, the Westview, are we gonna shift that back? I've been asking for this since last month.
The Westview stop, so I remember the bus stop by PSC was relocated because of the construction from Roosevelt Landing,
Yeah.
correct? Okay.
Yes, and I asked that the Westview stop be, right now it's stopped at the 102 stop, that's right before the Helix.
Mhm.
And I asked it to be shifted back, if not before where it was, after the stop sign. Because I've had multiple seniors and disabled residents of Westview ask for that. And so I've been asking for it since the fall, and I haven't gotten a response. Either why it shouldn't be, or yes. Obviously, it's not yes, but yes.
Right, so that stop, I remember, that was relocated north because there was safety concern with the drivers or the vehicles that would be positioned behind the bus when they would stop, and the narrow pathway for folks when they were getting off the bus was a little bit more narrow than it could have been. And we met with the New York City Transit Senior Vice President of Bus Operations and reviewed where the bus stop was prior and then where it was relocated to align with the Q102 stop to get his input. And he felt that was a good choice to align it with the Q102 for the safety reason of not creating a situation where vehicles are lined up behind a bus, but then also that there's a larger area basically for people to exit the bus and a crosswalk immediately thereafter. So in his opinion, his view, moving it further north was the safest decision for us to make. And we also did reach out to a few of the community members, and we received positive feedback about the relocation further north. So it sounds like it's gone both ways.
So we have a resident right now that doesn't like it, but the reason we were initially given to move the bus stop north was because the stop sign was not visible to the cars behind the bus. So now if you move it to before or after, just north of the stop sign, that stop sign will be prominent with the flashing lights, so that the cars behind will stop and know to stop. So that's still gonna be my request going forward, that the bus be relocated back, unless there is, I understand the safety concerns, but I think that the stop sign addresses that. The specific safety concern that was brought to the board as a reason to move that bus stop from before the stop sign, after, but further up. We're not gonna do that. If that stop sign will be visible, I think that should be okay.
So I understand, so moving it just one notch north,
Mm-hmm.
right?
After.
And that was something we also touched on with the senior VP of New York City Transit to see what he felt. And he, in his opinion, in his view, aligning our bus stop with the Q102 was the safest method for both the drivers, the operators, passengers, and the vehicles. Because moving it just a little bit further north created a similar situation as the prior stop, where you have the possibility of creating a pressure situation where there's, opportunities for road rage or just still that narrow pathway when people are exiting. So in his view, the relocation that we made was the safest that we could make for that stop.
Okay, so, but it's still inconveniencing and the seniors and the disabled, and so we have, I'm forgetting your name. Starlight, what?
It's a problem, because if that's gonna be a problem, it's a problem even before, where bread and butter is, it's a problem. When that bus stops there, that stop sign, and lets people off, there are cars and other traffic that they're rushing. They could care less about the red bus or any other bus or any other vehicle, emergency or otherwise, that stops there by the bread and butter stop, and they will go around. I've seen them do it.
It's the same as
because
public safety.
I have crossed that street many times, and a car has decided to come from behind the bus and go past the stop sign, or not caring who's coming across the street. It's happened to me several times, over and over again. So, like Lydia said, the blinking stop sign, which I've been asking for I can't even tell you how many years, but they finally did it. So, like she said, to move it, it just makes a whole lot more sense, because where it stops afterwards is so far removed from Westview, but then you go to the next stop and there's no stop, and people are crossing the street and you have the school there. And I'm looking at all this space and all this traffic that's coming from the circle, where there are children in the morning and the afternoon that have to cross that area. So like Lydia said, where it is now in comparison to where it was is, in my opinion, very unsafe.
I mean, perhaps we look at outfitting the red buses with the stop signs that come out like they do school buses, or more lighting or something, because it is a perennial problem. It's like, I appreciate that we're saying that it's a problem here, but it's literally a problem at every time that the red bus stops. Anybody who's ever ridden the red bus and got off the red bus knows you have to stop and peer around, no matter where. Yeah, because people love to just be impatient and dip around, so.
Mary, have you thought about asking the drivers, what do they think about it, and also question them on their opinion on the different stops? How do they find it?
Yeah, I can ask them.
Maybe it's an enforcement issue.
My question still stands. My request still stands.
The chapel elevator modernization and ADA access. So we're conducting a conceptual study to look at different options for ADA compliant ramp or alternative entrance to improve the accessibility at the chapel. Any modification to the exterior will require approval by Landmarks and the State Historic Preservation Office. And I say that to say that now the Motorgate elevator work, it has been completed. Both elevators are in operation and running after their modernization. The next phase of this project will be to address the chapel elevator controls, and that is scheduled for this June, where ADA access to the second floor will be temporarily unavailable at that time.
Just a question here, who is conducting the study?
This study is going to be conducted by our A&E panel. Our panel of architects and engineers are looking at this. And they're also looking at the envelope of the building. They're going to study any areas where there's been water intrusion, anything that we need to really make sure we're focusing on and addressing all the issues that could be.
Is it architectural company or individuals who are working directly with REOC?
These are made up of firms that work directly with our project manager here at REOC.
I was just curious if possible some more information about this.
Yeah.
Yes.
You did this a few years. The elevator broke, it's a hydraulic elevator, the basement flooded, and that's why the elevator kept breaking. A question, you cannot do no service to the second level, but they know how long it's gonna take. It's gonna take at least a month or two. You have to find an alternative ramp kind of entrance. I know how high that is, but you have to put up something this summer. It's unfair at all. And we had a party in there one time, and we all ended up with a broken elevator being in there for hours before people could get out. It's also a fire emergency. It's a emergency to anyone. And you have to find a way to build a temporary ramp that you don't need, Landmarks and stuff will give you permission to build a temporary ramp going somewhere. It's very hard on those very steep stairs. But you cannot deny the people the use of the chapel for anything for months. You have to have a temporary ramp immediately. And I'll discuss the next subject after you discuss it, because that's not making me happy.
I agree.
How did you figure that, Faye?
No one was gonna be happy. We are not happy about this, because we do have to figure out a way so that residents can get into the chapel. And this is, there's always gonna be a problem.
Well, I mean,
Permanently, but
that was
immediately.
the organ loft, that was the problem. So
But we do need an
we
immediate.
have to have
So-
an immediate ramp built.
Can maintenance do that? Can maintenance build a ramp that will go from the chapel to the courtyard inside the chapel?
So we did look into a ramp option. However, the stairs are too steep, like Judy mentioned. The grade would not be feasible. So now what we'll have to do is we'll have to engage an engineering company to develop plans for a temporary adjustment, and then that'll need to be filed with SHPO, and it'll need to be filed with DOB. So the project will be delayed significantly now, beyond June.
Mary?
Get those in place.
The Board of Elections of the City of New York is an expert at building temporary ramps, because for access to every single poll site, and trust me, I've been to a lot of steep and weird poll sites. The people at the BOE are experts in getting access into old buildings, and they have these companies that come and build amazing ramps. And, so those are the people you contract. These people know how to do it, let's not go out here. You contact these companies, they build ramps all over the city for the Board of Elections, and they spend a lot of money doing it. And so those are the people to contact.
That's an excellent suggestion, Mary.
Yeah,
Thank
we know that's excellent. We know the guys, and it's amazing. I've gone to these old schools where the entrance is like 40 feet up in the air, and there's a ramp. It may be 20 yards long and zigzag, but there's a ramp, so that's who to contact,
Thank you.
I don't know what the cost would be or what the approval requirements would be, but could something be done like at Fort Freedom Park stairs where they have an elevator that rides up along the steps?
Well, Fort Freedom's Park is state park, it's not REOC, so we wouldn't be able, it's not in our jurisdiction.
It's all.
He's saying something.
But he wants to
Well,
know.
they have a lift
Yeah.
that,
If the stairs
He
are
wants to know
too steep,
similar.
to use a lift like that instead of a ramp, which requires incline.
It's two sets of staircases.
yeah. Right,
It could be a long
yeah.
pathway.
Okay, let's do Judy's favorite subject.
Yes, Blackwell House
Your subject.
roof assessment. So, we've engaged our A&E panel to assess the entire roof, and develop a repair scope based on that assessment. Given the building's landmark status, we need to ensure that we preserve the historical character of the house. And once the A&E panel has done their assessment, and we're ready to move to the next step, they'll prepare the required permitting materials for landmarks that will be required for DOB filing, and will also be reviewed with SHPO. So this assessment is underway, and the goal is to have an RFP posted in August. Judy.
Come on, 3 years ago, I complained about this, and who's our head engineer? Downtown, what's his name? Alvaro. We're gonna do it this summer. This is absolutely obscene. They never put a new roof on when they finished the building in 2021, 22, during the pandemic. Come on. It has been falling apart for the last 3 years that I can see. And there's no reason that we're going through all these gyrations. This is an emergency repair. You could get an emergency, we're not demolishing it. You can get an emergency repair for probably $50,000.
We'll be lucky.
I mean, this is so ridiculous. I look at unfortunately, I can see the building from my window in the winter. And it is infuriating that this is going on and on and on, and Alvaro says, oh, you have the money, we're gonna do it. This is a small repair. Come on, you can do a house in a week, and you can't get this darn roof fixed. I'm sorry. SHPO in the state, there's no reason for this to go on and on and on. There's no, and I'm gonna probably, would you give me permission to go up into the attic and make sure it's dry? You know, we do have a legal right.
We'll talk.
We'll talk. No, we have a lease, the historical society has a
We'll
lease
talk.
for the attic. And we're gonna go up because next we're gonna have the rodents in there, which we may have already, making, you know, the squirrels love to live there. And no one seems to get on the building. The rodents are in your building. I'll share them with you. No, seriously, this is disgraceful. This is absolutely obscenely disgraceful. You could have gotten an emergency contract for this roof. How many square feet is the roof? I don't know. But to go through this, more approvals. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm really pissed. This is not way how you treat a landmark building. I'll have to get Peg Green to scream at you again, you know. It's infuriating, and you can't keep doing this stuff. You just get an emergency repair and fix the damn roof, you know? Yes?
We can look into it.
Don't look into it, please, stop looking into it. Do it.
We're doing it.
I heard you. We heard you.
Why?
We're in the,
Sorry.
it's coming.
Sorry.
Happening.
We're in this
It's already happening.
Did Rick get that on video?
Judy, I know you're going to email me every day until it's done.
Did Rick get that on video?
She's very worried to assess it. I'm trying to assess it.
And this is what happens when you have leadership gaps. We have new leadership, right? We've been in a state. We have new leadership. We are trusting that this new leadership is putting this
We're really going to
forward.
do this.
And you,
Daily photo from
we know,
Yes.
will hold feet to fire. And we appreciate that. And we agree with you.
By the way, we're having a meeting of the business group in there on June 30th, so.
I saw that.
Yeah, so you better have scaffolding, then you'll have scaffolding around the building probably.
I'll be nailing shingles myself.
Okay, good.
You heard it here first.
Without approval.
I will not be hanging, yes, no one wants that. No one wants that. But it is, but because of your advocacy.
I'm holding a piece of fire.
Yes, you are.
Oh, about time.
We can't even figure a few months. Great.
Okay.
So, talking about the prow and the North Pier. So first, the prow is currently in design. We're in the process of working with the engineering firm to get those drawings together to rehabilitate the steel and the concrete structure within the prow. And that is anticipated to be available in August of this year. Now, the North Pier in February experienced a failure within the midpoint of the pier, And we have contacted the same engineering firm that is working on the prow to now expand their study to this neighboring pier. To ensure safety in the meantime, we secured the area with a custom-fit aluminum gate, which is pictured here on the bottom right. The pier is expected to go through the same design study as the prow, and we're anticipating approximately 6 months for the design of the North Pier. And we're also open to suggestions beyond what is currently there as far as how the North Pier is structured in that T-shaped form.
And I would say the reason we're open to suggestions is just simply, we want to hear with that particular one while we're at it, what works. Should we replace it as it is now? Should we, in the interest of time and money, should we contemplate something more modest in its place? Or is that?
It's not a landmark.
Right, exactly. Should we be significant about it, like just?
No,
Should we involve the community into a conversation?
Yeah, exactly, like that's a
great question.
That'll be brought up
Yeah.
at REDAC.
And we can discuss that too, yeah, but that's, if you do have, start thinking about it now, if you have thoughts, but, we're concerned, piers, we've inherited decades of deferred maintenance, and piers are very expensive
But I think
to restore and then to maintain, and so we just, with the North Pier, because, as you had mentioned, Judy, doesn't seem to have the historical distinction. We're open to thoughts on it, whether there might be something more prudent to do.
For example,
what other?
Can I? So I know that the sanctuary has been using the North Pier for weddings.
Yes.
So maybe the sanctuary might be amenable to suggesting maybe kicking in funding.
Yeah,
for-
that is something we have,
So that's something REDAC would have to
Mhm.
address.
anyway.
That's the forum where we will have this discussion.
Yeah, so I'll just say, just think about it, we have no preconceived notion, we just thought this is an opportunity to get input.
Just,
My only question, my question
it says the design package will be completed by August of 2026 for the prow. When do you anticipate the prow being open for people to walk on?
So with the North Pier experiencing the failure that it has, what our idea is that if we're going to address both of the piers, we want to bid that out as one bid package. So we want to make sure we're looking at the North Pier, assessing it, seeing what design or what the repairs would mean as far as if we repaired it as is. We also want to engage the community to find out if there is another alternative that we should be exploring. So really, the game plan, if all that comes together, would be to have work begin in 2027, because we'll need time to have the designs in place, have the conversations with the community, and then bid it out together in one package. We'll get more competition from bidders. It also, as far as accessing the site, makes sense to have just one vendor working out there at a time.
What about Eleanor's Pier?
Yes.
Illinois Pier, we're in the process of evaluating those bids that came in, and we're planning to bring that to the June board meeting, sorry.
Start that work this year.
Yeah, and start that work this year.
Also, another.
So Eleanor's Pier will not be open this summer.
It will not be open this summer.
There were also three other things that I really wish they would evaluate the condition.
Uh-huh.
The three sculptures in the river.
The
Really,
Tom Otterness one?
Yeah, I really think they've been there since, I think, 1996. But 20, how many years? So maybe it's time for your engineers, when they come here, to send the scuba team over to see how our little real estate people are doing. One of them has graffiti on it, I wish I could scrub it off. No, seriously, I really think someone should,
30 years.
What? 1996, I think.
30 years.
30 years, oh, shit.
So, just going back for the two piers and the community involvement, that's great. I mean, this is something should be done on the island, the community involvement. If you're planning to bid the design package or to sign the design package, this is kind of urgent. How do you imagine this community involvement?
Bidding the construction together as one. So the design, we already have
Yeah.
the design vendor on board with the Prow, so they're actively working on the project. And then the discussion around the North Pier would happen at the REDAC.
But if you want to involve the community, that needs to happen before the design is started, or as part of the design process
Right.
to involve the community.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
That would be at the VDAP committee.
Yeah, all right.
What is the material for the prow? What's it gonna be made of?
It's a mixture of steel and concrete. I don't have the specifics in front of me, but if you'd like to know.
Salt water side, and
Yeah.
water power.
So,
Right.
Yeah, right, yeah.
I just wanted
Great
to,
environment material.
luckily
None of our piers were made out of.
for the board, the Architectural Community Alliance Approval Talent is here at this meeting. So I'll be happy to work with you and with the community engagement about these initial phases.
Okay.
Just one question, because everyone is sharing their pains around Island.
Mm-hmm.
Which committee we have to talk to get some fresh sand for the Blackwell playground, the sand pit? I was told this is the original sand from 1972.
What is that, what?
So,
No.
can we get fresh?
They first placed the sand.
It was replaced?
Because my kids were playing in that sand in the 90s and early 2000s.
Of the sandbox?
So, yeah.
It's not the original, I mean, it was filled at least once. I mean, okay, 90s is pretty good.
Springs
Okay, so your concerns about the same.
Yeah, can we get some fresh sand?
Yeah, facilities, the physical pieces of the island is operational.
Yeah,
You
so
have
this is.
Just the right way.
people, you don't have to wait for a meeting.
Yeah,
Send an email.
you know our email.
I have one other pressing question.
Do a fixed ticket.
I have one other pressing question. Architectural Community Alliance recently won a grant from the Historic District Council to work on public spaces, study and preservation on the island. It probably merits a separate meeting, but we won this grant based on several pictures. One of them includes the iconic red benches from the Blackwell Park. The same, right next to the same sandbox. The steps, somebody removed 3 benches that were used by the families every day. They were installed at the top of this hill, under the shade, and they were used on a daily basis by probably 20, 30 families. And the benches were in good condition. I have them documented because they're part of our grant application. So I have proof that they were in good condition.
We don't know.
We don't know.
Mary, where are they?
We're all Mary. And wait, there is something more interesting to hear. And the pavers that were around the benches, they are now thrown over the railing in the river.
All of them,
All of them.
not one or two.
The granite pavers.
So this is good, we can recover them. The question is, can we find the benches?
So we have a
Let's
number of residents that
let's talk about
volunteer to jump over the fence.
No.
We're trying to call them, but.
No, please.
So,
The scuba team to get them.
this renovation was definitely bad, butchered, botched, whatever the right word is. But we want the iconic red benches back.
Yeah, let's talk more offline about the grant and the benches.
How many
That's legitimate.
cats use
Yeah.
that?
No, that's why, that's it. Okay.
Stories Valley?
Yeah, I remember sitting on them when I was in the late 90s, early 2000s. Taking care of my kids, yeah.
So new procurements we have coming up. We're going to be issuing an RFP to establish a pool of qualified firms to provide project management, site safety, and scheduling services, amongst many other things, to really expand our capacity to support our aggressive and diverse capital program. This is similar to how an A&E panel functions, where we go to the A&E panel when we need architectural and engineering services. On-call construction managers would be responsible for the project management tasks and site safety and others. This method of having an on-call CM firm is a model that's widely used across other city and state agencies to really help provide a diverse depth of bench for our team to tap into. So some of the projects our team will be able to manage, and then in certain instances, it's helpful to have a panel that we could reach out to help support us as we have all the projects start to come online. The flood risk assessment, we are going to conduct a comprehensive flood risk assessment for the island to guide a broader resilience strategy and protect critical infrastructure. The study will evaluate exposure to coastal storms, sea level rise, and extreme precipitation using climate projections and modeling to define flood risks. It will identify vulnerable assets, assess drainage conditions, and recommend targeted improvements supported by necessary survey work. The consultant will also evaluate interim measures such as deployable barriers, backflow preventers, and emergency response strategies to mitigate near-term risks aligned with New York City emergency management and FEMA best practices. While flood risk assessment is expected to be part of the scope of work for the EDC study, REOC still needs to undertake its own assessment in order to address short-term risks and to establish a baseline for the island-wide infrastructure study and capital plan.
Does that have any connection to the study that was done around Kohler and what to do down there? This is more wide-ranging?
Yeah.
This is the entire island, all of our critical assets. And really doing this homework now also sets us up to apply for federal funding down the line to help support any measures we need to put in place.
We'll leverage the information that HHC has from their resiliency study as part of it, but the focus being on our property and assets by and large on residential buildings.
Were the previous contingency plans done?
What do you mean, Lydia?
So this is a resiliency strategy. So we know that Sandy hit the island harshly. Were the previous contingency plans done based on what we had before? Because we had massive flooding.
Right.
Massive flooding. And were previously contingencies planned? We know that they weren't prior to that. After that, were the contingency plans done after that?
That's why
After
we
Sandy,
need
yeah,
Part
that's
of
why
no
we need
one
to do
got
this.
started.
That's why we need
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm,
Do we foresee community involvement, board involvement? Like, what will that look like?
Yeah,
It's a very
I would,
topic right
yeah,
now.
I would consider, so this is going to be a technical assessment, but I think that we should definitely do a readout to the community and to the board, certainly, of what we've found. And, you know, depending on the implications and what flows from that in terms of resiliency measures we should pursue, which, you know, as I know firsthand, would necessitate both board and community input, but also would require significant investment in order for us to proceed. So, so we'd have to have community engagement sessions to think about design to the extent design is needed and changes are needed based on our flood risk. But absolutely.
And
Thank you.
also, to the extent that these talk about the envelope of the building, of the island, this would be subject to possible grants
Yes,
procurement.
grants.
Yeah.
Yes, we will, I mean, frankly, unless we can, yes, we will need to rely on grants, to be able to do any meaningful resiliency work. I would assume, unless it comes back and it's suddenly the flood level has gone down, but that doesn't happen in the world we're living in. But, yes, that's also why we want to do this, because that analysis would be required as a basis for any meaningful grant application.
Has anything progressed in the plans of HHC regarding that berm they wanted to put by Kola Hospital for flood mitigation? Is that just dead?
It's not dead, but it's not moving.
Okay, and what was the island infrastructure plan you referenced? Something, didn't you say?
Oh, this will fold into a larger infrastructure plan, capital program moving forward.
And what's part of this island is?
So generally, what we're concerned about, it's the case with the piers, is like assessing all of, so even irrespective of climate risk, just the structural stability and how well our infrastructure is maintained and so that we can make sure that the capital plan we have addresses
Is that going on now?
our needs. And that's part, so this is the initial part of that, but will be complemented by an assessment of infrastructure across the island.
And who's doing that? Is that
We are going to
internally?
do that, and we'll hire a firm to also help with that as well, yeah.
How that does, is that in any kind of sync with the plans for redevelopment that were just announced?
So the nature of that study, the study that we announced with the city to consider, those will definitely be complementary. And so there are some cases where I believe that study will contemplate infrastructure assessments and resiliency needs more adjacent to a potential redevelopment site, but we have to think about everything in between as well.
So they are related.
What's that?
They are related. The redevelopment plans announced on November 14th
Yeah.
are related to this additional.
They need to be in sync and complementary, yeah.
So when is the promised community engagement in the context of the new plan of the redevelopment plan?
That's still, we're working with the Mamdani administration on the timing of that, but my hope is that will kick off later this year. And it will be the planning and community engagement study.
So what is happening in the meantime with the development plan?
That's really the planning and community engagement study, the first study.
So it hasn't started?
No.
Nothing has started since the announcement on November 14th?
Other than preparing a scope for consultants to eventually come on board and help with some of the assessment that we're talking about.
The team plan.
Does EDC have a commissioner?
No.
All I can say is,
Yeah.
I hate to say this, after all of these years, I know you see many meetings, we start with all these grand plans and spend tons on consultants and nothing comes of it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I've watched us waste tens of thousands of dollars, hiring consultants, bartering with consultants, going on, and nothing comes of it except a lot of
Yeah.
consultants make a lot of money and we get
Yeah.
zero.
And that,
Really, and that's the truth. I
Yeah.
mean, it's very wonderful to say, we're hiring consultants, we're hiring this, we're wasting money. We just need to buckle down and
Yeah.
do the job.
and that's where I
Because
hope you
we
will.
could have built 4 South Towns in the time that it took to
That-
build.
Now that is, yeah. There's a lot that could have been done in the past, that's for sure. What I would say is, what you see here is that we are thinking long-term about planning opportunities, but also steam tunnel resiliency, infrastructure needs long-term, but we're also tackling immediate needs, so you'll see real change, like Eleanor's Pier, like the Prow, like your roof.
And Main Street being
Your
repaid.
roof, and Main Street being repaid. So it's not just, this isn't about just potholes being filled. This is not just
No,
about
it's just, after all these years.
aspirational, but you're right, it happens, and it
It
happens
just
all
goes
over
on
the
and on
city
and on.
with, economic development.
I mean, looking forward is great, but have you looked in the past? From what I know, there was already engineering report done for the steam tunnel.
Yes, there is an engineering report for the steam tunnel, so we'll leverage what we do have, but,
Can we see this report?
uh,
I mean, we can
I'm
file a
not-
call request,
well,
but we
I
have
will-
filed so many, and we
I mean,
haven't got anything.
listen, it doesn't hurt to, file a FOIL request. I will say with the steam tunnel, which again, that should be a separate meeting and will be, but we are putting together information for a public roadshow, both in part to educate everyone on the status of the tunnels, how we got here, where we think it should go, and also hopefully use it as a hook to get some investment from partners we believe, like the city, should have a vested interest in making sure that this area is restored safely. So we will have more information
There was
publicly.
actually, all this information was available online up to several months ago, when RIOC started redeveloping the website, and it disappeared.
Okay, let me.
Months ago, everything
let
was
me-
visible.
email Bryant about anything that you think is missing, because we upgraded our website, and we did not, and when you upgrade a website, sometimes
Things get broken.
yeah, things get broken, and but anyway, but if there wasn't anything intentionally other than if it was redundant or outdated or didn't make any sense, that we removed from it, so.
I'll send the link.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
And then the last item here is, one that we had touched on last year, bus midlife overhaul. So, consistent with industry practice, performing bus midlife overhauls, is an important component of preventative maintenance to extend the bus's life, anywhere beyond 8 years. Following the successful overhauls of bus 8 and 9 last year, bus 10 and 11, who are both 2018 models, are scheduled to undergo this process this year. We're in the process of obtaining estimates from vendors to, especially a certified New Flyer rebuilder within the area. And this means that really with these overhauls, we're able to take a bus that otherwise would have been retired after 10 or 12 years. It could remain in service for 16 years or more. And performing bus midlife overhauls is also a much cheaper option than buying a new bus. So I say all that also to say that I was able to work with the MTA or New York City Transit and New Flyer on the delivery of our 2 new hybrids. We were able to move those up a month, so those will be arriving now in November of this year, which will also help with the fleet availability that we have within our red bus service. So that will be coming to the board very soon as well.
Mary?
There was a previous meeting. Yeah, there was a previous meeting on which we discussed about if we are looking into alternative fully electric buses and replacing the entire fleet. But I hope you're not planning for the next 15 years to overhaul them and keep the same for the next 15 years. So is there anything that was done on this?
We have a plan. We're interested in transitioning ultimately to a fully electric fleet. We're phasing our way in, starting with hybrids, and there's a target date that's set by the state to
2040, we have to fully transition our entire fleet vehicle, and
that doesn't mean that we're not interested in beating it. But
yeah, that doesn't mean we're not interested in doing it sooner. And with electric vehicles and buses primarily, it's an incredible cost investment, not only from the purchase of the buses themselves, but also from the infrastructure. And part of the evaluation process we have to do before we make that leap is to make sure that we do have enough power on site in order to be able to keep them running. And then there's a lot of other things that waterfall from that, such as workforce development and parts and all the different and size of our warehouse. There's a lot of things that do come into play, and all that to say, our goal is to transition to an EV fleet.
And we would also welcome grant funding from elected officials.
Yes.
And I think we do have to ask the question. I mean, I'm super big on the sustainability that in the Northeast with the winter that we just had, fully electric vehicles they have issues.
Yeah.
When
They have advantages.
they have advantages. I'm very proud, but I want to remind us of the winter that we just had, and some electric vehicles that I am aware of, people having, did not work.
Right. Yes.
They didn't work. So we have to be smart about it. We can't strand ourselves this way because we went this way.
And piggybacking on that,
I think we all agree.
New York City Transit, actually, they had major issues with their electric fleet during the snowstorm. And they've actually changed one of their orders with New Flyer from electric to now hybrid, because they feel like the technology still needs to.
So we have to do the weighing, the pros and the cons, we have to think about it, but I think we're all in agreement, it's required, it's anti.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a detailed explanation of this sometime in the past. Mary, you really gave a detailed explanation.
Yes.
I don't know
Entire
how long
meeting.
ago, it's about a year, about the garage and how much, it was a lot of information that was given at that time.
Okay, if we renovate bus number 10 and 11, is there a way we could put parallel seating in those two buses? Because the worst thing is the perpendicular seating. Can they, if they're gonna renovate the bus, is there a way you can put the seating against the wall? Because the worst thing in those two buses is one carriage gets on and that's the end. So maybe we can have parallel seating?
Or are you asking also for stroller,
No, well,
stroller parking?
No, I don't care about that, but, you know, I love bus
Ooh.
mix. Bus mix is ancient, but she's running today. She just has 2 rows of seats, easy in, easy out. Bus 10 and 11 are always having congestion problems. So really, ask them, ask them, why can't you put the seats against the wall? You're gonna have to build it, come on, let's be creative.
They will hold more people that way, that's true.
And also, it's easy access. They still, they have 1 door or 2 doors? They have a back door and 10
2 doors.
Yeah, but they're hard to use because there's nowhere to go.
We're gonna
We can look
have to
into that,
definitely have to think about what has to be inside of us like that, because,
Right.
children's gonna have to hold on to something.
Well,
And, it's gonna take some thought, I would think.
And then July 4th, so we wanted to touch on this, as we're getting closer to that holiday coming up. So coordination has been underway really since the beginning of this year with New York, NYPD, NYC Emergency Management, New York State Emergency Management, MTA, New York City Transit, Transit Police, New York State Parks, Four Freedoms Park, Conservancy, and Cornell Tech, all central to our proactive safety planning and strategy when it comes to the spent. We have a map here of just different locations where we are going to have officers and safety personnel assigned during the day. And then as in past years, we've asked Macy's not to list the island as a viewing location. They were amenable to that in the past, and we expect the same moving forward. So just to give you a sense, that's what our safety area looks like. And then as far as some traffic modifications that will be in place for that holiday, parking restrictions, there'll be no parking around the Cornell Tech Loop, all the way going north to the Meditation Lawn. This begins on July 2nd, 7 p.m. and runs through Sunday morning, July 5th, 8 a.m. Bus routes, there will be slight modifications with the Q102 and Redbus turning around at the tram station on July 4th and making all stops going northbound from there. The ferry service, typically the ferry stops running in the late afternoon on July 4th due to the barges that are in the area. Once we have a firm date of when they will discontinue service that day, we will circulate that out in the advisories to come in June. To tickets, a very popular topic. So we have 1,500 tickets available as in years past.
Don't even try. Don't even try. It's a disaster. You've tried it every single time. It's a disaster. The first people come in, they can go to the top of the hill, it's Cornell, and that's it. The ticket thing is the biggest mess. You know this. It's not worth it. Just let everyone come, go stand on top of the hill and be happy. Really, the ticket thing is a disaster. If everyone goes online and registers 15 times and the system crashes, come on, we've all been through this. There's no reason to have it. All you do is leave. That's how you feel at the end of the day. You feel stranded like him.
Exactly. It's a nightmare.
Why bother with the tickets? It's a waste. The islanders know what to do. You go to Cornell, you sit on the.
Do you know how many people come here from off island?
Yes, my dear. I've lived here for 48 years.
That's why we need to.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean it's free. It doesn't mean it's free.
We all do, I think.
Can you explain how the tickets?
It's on both sides this year, is what I've heard. It's in the Hudson.
Yeah.
That's right.
There's no getting away.
Yeah.
Well,
It's like a
Mayor,
or something.
Rick had a question, and I think that,
Bless you.
Thank you.
as far as how we're doing, how the ticket's gonna work, it's gonna be similar.
Same as past
Yeah.
Same
Same
as past
number.
years, that's right. Same as past years, and anyone is welcome
Okay.
to come and go to enjoy Cornell Tech Lawn, walk the promenades. We're gonna have, I think, over 15 food trucks will be in the event zone this year, so there'll be a lot to eat, lots to enjoy. We're hoping for good weather, and then the fireworks typically begin around 9:25, 9:30.
How many people will be allowed in FDR Park?
I believe it's 1,500, just like it was every year.
And then just some other important times to be aware of as far as the access on and off the island, primarily for vehicles. So at 12 p.m., there'll be no incoming traffic onto the island. We'll have 114 precinct as well as some PSC officers stationed on Vernon Boulevard. They'll be checking resident IDs. Island staff that are working that day absolutely are able to come onto the island. And then, of course, emergency vehicles, Red Bus and Q102, we mentioned their abbreviated route that day. We will have a Rita bus available that will run from the tram south to the entrance of South Point Park to help anyone that needs to utilize that route to get down closer to the event space. And we'll have the east and west checkpoints opening at noon as well that day. Starting at 3 o'clock, there'll be no vehicular traffic south of Capobianco Field. At 5 p.m., the south checkpoint at the west side of South Point Park will open for any ticketed guests going to Four Freedoms Park. And then at 9 o'clock, all checkpoints are closed as we prepare for the firework event. And then at the end of the fireworks, usually around 9:50, then everyone will head to the transportation hubs where we'll have support from transit police and the MTA ready to handle the crowd.
I just want to say something, and I'm going to be short, but I'm going to be very thorough, because this is actually my favorite event on this island. Well, to each. No, I'm here for about 2 days straight. But I think it's one of the most spectacular things. My 30 years in the police department, I always saw it from the other side of Manhattan. And when I first came here, I was amazed by how incredible the firework display was here. And but there are a lot of precautions that we do take, and myself and Chief Brown over the years have really worked with all the agencies, and we really have a solid plan for safety and security for everybody on the island. We're working with the MTA, we're working with emergency management, the NYPD, the Parks Police, federal law enforcement agencies. Everyone is involved. The MTA is a huge part of this function, and actually we are having a return meeting on Friday with a bunch of them with the MTA. They are over-giving this year because it's 250-year anniversary, and they're actually giving us extra trains in case we have to, get people off. And I think we've averaged in the last 2 years since we had it on this side. But I think the last time we had it was 45 minutes. We wound up getting everyone through that subway and everybody off the island. We have a lot of personnel with the NYPD included, with private security company that's going to be helping us with the wanding and the security measures to get south of North Loop, where we always usually have our biggest checkpoint. And we're pretty sure that you guys will all feel very safe and secure during this whole entire event.
Any questions?
What about the tram?
The tram. What usually happens every year with the tram is the tram runs, and then when the firework display starts, it's put on hold. It stops at that time.
One moment, for the record, I would like to, I never had a chance to introduce you, for the record. This is Deputy Chief Amoroso from our Public Safety, and who has just given us this information. But do you have any questions for him?
I actually do. I know that there has been in previous years buses that run for the seniors and the disabled down to Four Freedoms Park. Will that continue? Because I just saw no be it.
Yes, what we will be doing is, there is no traffic as of 3 o'clock south of the Helix. But for
people that have to go to work and people would get through, and for the senior, we were gonna run a senior bus for the event that goes.
The third bullet, video,
Yeah,
the
the
read
third
above
Yeah,
will
it
be
was
for-
on.
That's from the tram.
Yeah.
From the tram
It's
back
going,
to the-
it's going to run down right to Fort Freedom, right to South Point Park, the east entrance where it does. And then, Fort Freedoms helps us out tremendously by utilizing their golf carts to help bring everybody into their senior area. They actually designate an area down in Fort Freedoms Park for the seniors and the disabled. So we will be doing that this year. We have a driver that's going to be, running one of the rear bus, and he'll be bringing, the handicap and the seniors, the rear, the.
It's the Rita bus.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be,
Yes.
that's right.
All right.
So-
Vera doesn't have a bus.
Excuse me,
Yeah.
my mistake.
Okay.
And it will be taking them right to the east entrance of South Point Park, where they'll get on, and they'll get onto the golf carts, and they'll bring them down and situate them and make them, as comfortable as possible for the fireworks display.
Thank you.
Howard does a great job, Howard Axel does a great job of setting up a beautiful area for them and making it as comfortable as possible. And then we'll be getting them off at the same way. Yes.
It's more of well, I don't know how to phrase it. It's not really a question, it's more of a bone to pick. I heard that you said that the MTA is gonna run additional trains. That is really funny considering that they don't run trains in the morning or the evening properly, but they can do it for the 4th of July.
Okay, for the 4th of July, so that we don't have a situation where we have people that are stuck on the platform, they put on hold, they put these things called ghost trains. In the past, we've always had at least 2 ghost trains, and what those ghost trains are emergency trains where if, God forbid, we had an excess amount of people, they could bring in those trains to get people off of the platform. This year, I believe, we were actually asking for 4. MTA has actually said, hey, I think we're gonna put 4 trains. In the past, just so you know, we've never had to use any of these emergency trains. We've never gotten to the point where those trains have had to be utilized for the 4th of July. The average number that we usually get on the 4th of July is anywhere between 8,000 and 10,000 and people throughout the island, and we are able to, just with the regular train service, get everybody out. We will have additional transit police down in the subway. We'll have additional transit workers. They set up a transit detail with extra transit workers that are right up at the platform of the train on each level, on the platform. They really have it set to a T because they never want to have a reoccurrence of a cherry blossom type situation. And that holds very, very dear. And we will not ever allow that to happen because we will make sure that we have everything in place.
I'll tell you, honestly, aside from the tickets, I love the
Go
4th
ahead.
of July, but please don't set your barriers up so that every person coming off the tram can't get into the kiosk. We are in business.
Oh, okay, I'll make sure, Judy.
The last 2 years, it
I'll-
was great, it really
I'll
was
make sure.
great. No,
Okay.
the subway, it's true, by the time I get home.
I got you. I'll make sure the barriers,
For Roosevelt Island this much.
I'll make sure, I'll take care of that for you, I promise.
Just, on the day before, on July 3rd, there's going to be the tall ships on the East River.
Yes.
Any plans on that day?
What we're hearing is they're just going to be passing, and the very tall ships can only go a certain way. So we'll get a view of it, but we won't get it's only for a couple of hours span. So we're not really too concerned about that because they can't go under the bridge. They'll get stuck or they'll get hit, so.
Do you know what that thing in the middle of the river is? That looks
It looks like
the
an oil rig.
oil rig?
It looks like
Yeah,
I
do you
think
know
you
what
should
that
send
is?
your divers for that one too, Judy.
You don't know what it is.
No, I don't.
It's researching the bottom of the river for a future cables, electrical cables running down on the bottom, bringing electricity from Canada and the wind farms, the new on the
Okay, thank you.
Cape Cod.
So July 3rd is a holiday. So just, I'm assuming
Yeah.
we're all, we know that, we understand.
We are,
the
we
staff
are,
issues.
we are all,
Yeah, we're all working
yeah,
on July
we are all,
Thank you for your service.
yeah.
July 3rd is the day that we're going to have this Class B ship sail down the East River, I think from like 11 to 1, which is amazing. I've seen it in the past. Hundreds of smaller ships come down, and there's a schedule I saw printed, and I think that's really the nicest thing to see.
Yeah, but we definitely will, you know,
Yeah.
feel safe and secure over it, and it's going to run smooth. Yes, sir.
One question. So this year 4th of July is going to be very special, but for another reason, I think you may have to coordinate with 2 more agencies, with Department of Buildings and HPD, if you haven't coordinated yet. Because I think it would be good for you to know what they're planning, what kind of demolition will be happening in the days right before 4th of July.
Okay, we are gonna get ready to wrap up.
If they're planning, if the chimneys was going on in this time, I don't know how safe we're gonna feel.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be doing anything during the 4th of July
Not during the day.
celebration. Yeah, I
But
don't
depending on what
believe
they
that.
do, even if it's good for you to know.
But
what
I
they're
will
planning to do before.
definitely look into that, and I will make sure that everything is safe. Myself and Chief Brown, we will make sure that everything is safe and precautions are taken for that.
So any further questions you might have, you can definitely contact them. But right now, it is 7:50, it's time to bring this meeting to a
I
close.
have one more
Yes,
issue
Lydia?
that needs to be addressed. We had a fire Friday,
Yes, we did.
and we had the shutdown of Main Street for 5 hours. And I want to know if there were any contingency plans for this traffic.
Yeah, I could,
I'll let Anthony speak about why
Okay,
we did
sorry.
it the way we did. Go ahead. Yeah.
So we did have a massive fire and complications with the fire because of the way the apartment was when the firemen got up there. It was very cluttered with a lot of things inside the location. Once the fire department and emergency management get on scene in any kind of fire, they are in control of everything. We are just pawns on their chess game, and we help them designate and do what they need to do and give them access. Them shutting down the road, we have no control over the road being shut down, when it can be opened, when it can be closed. There was over 75 fire apparatus on scene, over 150 emergency people, because the first priority became life. Absolutely, that's our first priority. It's not traffic, it's not anything but saving lives. And they had an extensive search throughout that building, and that took a long period of time, and it took a lot of personnel to do so. A lot of smoke, that caused a lot of issues for them. A lot of stuff burnt in that apartment that caused even more smoke, and the road had to be closed. One of the things, though, that we did have control over, and one of our worries, and Chief Brown's biggest thing was, we had special needs children that had to get out of school. And right away, within the first 2 hours, we knew this was going to be a long operation, and we started to make plans so that when these kids got out of school, we had some kind of safe way to get them off the island and not create more stress to their environment. And we were able to get the fire trucks to move and create some kind of path where we were able to get them and work with the schools so that we could get the children off. So that became our priority while the fire department and emergency management and NYPD were operating. As far as any kind of traffic movement, it's all shut down until the fire department deems it safe and opens the road. It is a city road, so we have no control over whether roads can be opened or closed. Once they close the roads, and any fire in the past, when the road is closed, it's closed by the emergency management or the fire department. REAC, we don't close the roads. They close the road. So there is no way for us to move any traffic because we have to get approval from them before that.
Mention the fire hydrants.
Also, all the fire hydrants are on the other side of the street from where the fire was, so those hoses run across the road. And that would be very unsafe to even try to get any kind of vehicle past. There was some mention about, what about the promenades and stuff like that. during an incident like that, a lot of pedestrians were utilizing the east and the west seawalls to walk, to get from south to north. We would never put vehicles on that, and especially if ambulances had to get people out, that's their emergency routes out because they can't maneuver around the hoses or the fire hydrant or the fire trucks. So we were dealt with a complex situation, multi-agencies, we worked extremely well together, we got it accomplished, and we also got the kids out of school. They pretty much were undetected of what really was. They knew a lot of fire trucks, but we were able to get them out, get them on the buses, and get them to their locations. And that was a huge concern for us.
And there was the after-action report.
Yeah, yes, yeah, and right now, and just so, it's still under investigation, and something like, yes, and something like that,
That's where we're waiting.
yes, it's something like that, it takes a period of time, especially when there is a fire with lots of things that are in the apartment. They have to find out what the cause of the fire is, and that's going to, I called today to see if there was any update, and the meeting was tonight, to see if I could do anything, and it's under investigation.
And the fire marshal report would also talk about damage to the cladding or whatever it might be.
Yes, everything will be, official once their investigation is completed. Yes.
BJ, since you have such a wonderful relationship with the buildings department,
Uh-huh.
how about getting on CNC, that building? They never inspect the apartment. We know there are hoarders in there. We know people have duplex apartments where you can't get up and down the stairs. Enough is enough. If someone has to put the pressure on COB to get these apartments. When I lived there, once in a while, they would make the excuse for changing the smoke detector, but it was really to check the safety. I don't think they do that anymore. And there are many, many apartments that we all know of that are hazards. We've already had 2 fires in 1 year. Someone has to get the buildings department to keep citing them, because it's disgraceful, it's scary. There are 1,003 apartments there. And, if it's only 100 apartments that are dangerous, people can't live this way. I'm sure it's in their lease that you have to have a habitable apartment, but really, get on the buildings department, since they love you already.
Literally, they are problems. I mean, they literally have a sign in each building that goes from 510 to 580 that says the building, a 51-year-old building, who hasn't had any upgrades done, has a 100% energy efficiency rating. No new buildings in the city have this, but someone managed to have a 100% energy efficient rating throughout the building from 510 to 580, stands right in the hallway for everyone.
Yeah, my building only has a C.
Okay, before we go on, I want this official request from me as a member of the Operations Advisory Committee. I would like a list of all current contingency plans for operations to be sent to all of us by as soon as possible, because we as a committee need to be reviewing all contingency plans for adequacy. I'm very glad to hear that you're starting the process, but I think it's really important because as a public benefit corporation, our responsibility is not only to make sure that the corporation runs smoothly, but that safety is primary concern. So we need to make sure, and it's our not only fiduciary responsibility, but it's our board responsibility to make sure that we have contingency plans in place. And as we witnessed from post-Andy, post-whatever, there are not the contingency plans that I would expect of any corporation in place. So we need to know what they are, and as a board, we need to mandate that contingency plans for any kind of man-made or natural disaster be put in place. And thank you very much for starting the process.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, we have been working on that, on our emergency plans. So
Thank you,
Thank you very much.
Hopefully, I'm hoping they'll be within the next month. That's my request.
yeah, we do. We'll discuss, but yes, we do have material that we can share.
Okay, we're just gonna have to remember that, PJ has an awful lot of things under his hat.
I have to worry about Judy's roof for that.
You know, priorities proceed. We can't let the urgent overtake
Judy,
the
remember when
important.
Sure he
I have to do that.
will manage it very well.
Because decades long.
Yes, it's very, not to lose sight of it, it's very, it's good organizational planning.
Okay, it is, I'm sorry.
But we still
You
have
know-
flooding all over.
That's right, because
Yeah,
you
no,
said,
it's,
And so we need to make sure that contingency plans are in place to address what happened to Sandy, what happened to the island because of Sandy in the future. So,
May I have a motion to end the?
I'll make the motion.
I second.
Thank you. It is now 7:59.
We're adjourned.
Thank you.
You're adjourned.
there it goes.